What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Talking NASCAR podcast. I am back doing it solo this week. Hitmaster is not available. We had some time constraints because you might see with my sunburn. I went to Cedar Point yesterday with a couple of the members of Pringle Son and Company, so we couldn't do it at our normal recording time. Hitmaster was busy, so he will be back next episode next week, hopefully. So you just get me this week. Just fine. We got a lot to talk about. Of course, we got to review everything that happened at Kansas for the truck and the cup race. And then I got a lot of news. Now, to be fair, most of the news is throwback paint scheme announcements. We got Darlington coming up. Actually, the truck races tonight. The Xfinity and Cup all racing. All of them doing throwback paint schemes. So, a lot of paint schemes were announced that we're going to talk about. All the ones that I could find that were announced. Plus, we're going to make sure the last of the drivers that were the last of the 75 greatest drivers were all revealed this week. So we're going to go over the ones that were added. Plus, we're going to do a full list here. He had a couple other smaller news things, a couple other news things, and of course at the end we'll preview again, like I said, preview Darlington. So let's start with Kansas review now. Start the truck race. I didn't get to watch any of the truck race, so I'm not going to talk about too much here. Just know that I didn't get to watch any of it. Grant Enfinger got the win. Congratulations to Grant. And that's all I really know about the race. So we're going to skip that and go to the Cup race. Kansas may have been one of the better. I think in my opinion, Kansas was one of the better races this season. Putting that out there, I think Kansas was one of the better races of the season. There were a lot of cautions, but the racing product was also good. And for exciting race starts, side-by-side action, competition for the lead, and it was just a nail-biter all the way through. And compare that to older generations of cars at Kansas, it's really good stuff, and it's really awesome that we get to see that. So I am really, really, really excited about that. How good the racing product really was. So that was always good stuff to see. But like I said, a lot of cautions. But this race is known for having a really, really wild finish. Came down between Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. Hamlin's been in the stories, all season. He's been in the story. He's been on the news for multiple different things. But he's been like the only guy that can challenge the Hendrick cars, challenge the Chevys. He's just never been able to get through, get a win. He had Larson in his sights last weekend at Kansas, and he took it. Bumping Larson on the backstretch, putting him in the wall, and riding on to victory for the first time this season. Larson still gets the runner-up finish. So that it was a crazy finish, not gonna lie. Probably the best of the season, if not one of the best, for sure. And that's what you want to see. That's how things go. And I really capped off what was a great race. I don't think a lot of people wanted to see Larson win. Quite frankly, I didn't really. I prefer Hamlin winning over Larson because Hamlin hasn't won yet this season. So that's really what it comes down to for me. Some other drivers that did really good. Bubba Wallace got a top 5, finishing 4th. Chase Elliott still running strong. Got a top 10 as well, finishing 7th. Austin Dillon had a top 10, 10th place finish. Harvick in his, no, not his last Kansas race, but one of his last, finishing 11th. Stenhouse with 12th. Allmendinger got a top 15. Almirola 13th. Most of the drivers that didn't have a great day include Ty Gibbs, Ty Gibbs ran up front a little bit during the race. He had a crash. Kyle Busch crashed out in the second stage, finishing 35th. And Christopher Bell also crashed out, finishing dead last. So it was not a good day for them either. But Denny Hamlin got the win. He becomes the 14th different driver locked into this year's NASCAR New Year's Eve Spectacular event. Third of the Gibbs cars. Actually, it might be all the Gibbs cars. No, not Ty Gibbs. 3 of the other 4 Gibbs cars now are locked in, though. So that is really, really good. So it's surprising. Hamlin's never won the New Year's Eve Spectacular. It's kind of funny, actually. It's like he can't win a championship. But, but he's in. He's locked into that now. We have 14 drivers in, including 10 winners, including the exhibition races, 10 different winners, and then 4 past champions that are eligible. So, congratulations again to Denny Hamlin for winning. And like I said, it's an overall really good racing for Kansas. And I think that was a pleasant surprise. I saw the short tracks weren't that great. Again, the Bristol Dirt, I thought Richmond was pretty good too. Martinsville was not that great. But we got a good racing on track that's not always been the greatest, Kansas. So, and then of course, how could I forget the craziest part of the race? We had a fight. I think it's the first time in forever that we had a fight. It was between Watermelon Man and Vector, aka Ross Chastain and Noah Gragson. This fight completely caught me off guard. I was watching the post race. I just had it on because I didn't feel like changing the channel or anything. And then they just cut over to this massive fight that's happening in the pits with Gragson and Chastain. I'm like, what the fuck? Why are they fighting? Why are they fighting? What's going on here? I didn't know why they fought. They weren't racing each other. Gragson finished like 29th. Chastain finished 5th or 4th, maybe. I don't remember. And so why are they fighting? Well, apparently earlier in the race, Chastain had put Gragson into the wall, which ruined Gragson's day. He's going to finish 29th, while Chastain rolled on to another top 5. And I guess he was just pissed off so much that he just pissed off with Chastain and his antics all season and went after him. And that was you would look at that. I mean, Gragson walks up and gets into his face, and they're yelling and shit. And then Chastain just socks him right in the face, like it's a hit, bam, right in the thingy mahoober. I don't know what this is called. Wow, holy Moses! What? Okay, crazy stuff there. And Gragson didn't even get a chance to lay another hit. I get you don't want to promote violence, NASCAR, but the fights are what's going to make this shit good. Okay? At least let him get back at him, or at least let Gragson get him back. At least once. Eye for an eye, that kind of thing. No? Maybe? I don't know. But it was... people are pretty torn on the whole thing. Gragson's not getting a lot of popular reactions out of it, but also people are happy that somebody finally stood up to Ross Chastain and actually fought him. So I don't know. I'm just happy for the fight. Like, I don't hate Chastain, unlike probably a lot of people. I think he's an aggressive driver, and I like that. He's wrecking people, intentionally or not. I don't know. I like it though. I'm gonna sneeze. I always sneeze during a podcast episode. Maybe not. But I like the fights. I think they're interesting. I think they keep the sport fresh and get it more publicity, even if NASCAR doesn't want that. So, but they're gonna get it, especially in a race like this where there's a lot of crashes, a lot of intense racing going on. So, kind of be expected. But overall, again, like I said, really good weekend of racing at Kansas. At least in Cup. I can't say, but I thought for trucks because I didn't watch trucks. But okay, now we'll do the paint schemes in a little bit. There are a couple other. There's one big news thing we got to talk about before we talk about the paint schemes. Ryan Newman is back. The Rocket Man. Hello, Newman. He is back. Ryan Newman is going to be running a partial schedule this season with Rick Ware Racing in one of their cars, and it'll be starting this weekend at Darlington in the Cup Series. This is awesome. I like Ryan Newman. I don't think he's the greatest driver ever, one of the greatest drivers ever, but he's a good driver, I think. And there's no reason to really hate him. He got in that big crash at Daytona over 3 years ago now, which is absolutely insane. Over 3 years ago now. But he came back in 2021, ran a full schedule, and then after that he dropped off the face of the earth. Didn't race at all last season in the Cup. So I'm glad that he's coming back, even if it is for shitty team Rick Ware Racing. But what are you gonna do? Maybe he'll run good. I don't think did he run at Darlington before? I don't think he has, but it'd be cool to see him win there on his first race back. I assume he's probably going to run some plate races too, for better or for worse, knowing Newman's luck on plate tracks. But who knows? We'll have to see how it goes. But that's really good, Ryan Newman. I think it's also going to be good for the team. I think it's going to be good for the sport. I think a lot of people are excited to see Ryan Newman back. I'm sure shit will be. I'm ready. Let's do it. The reason why I want to announce that first, because he is also doing a throwback paint scheme this weekend. And it is a throwback to himself. His rookie car from 2002. They're doing a throwback to that for the Rick Ware car. He's doing the 51. Brennan Poole's still in the 15. We'll get to him a little bit later. But and that's cool. The paint scheme looks really good. Really accurate to what his rookie scheme was back in 2002. So I really like that that they threw it back to him. So kind of expected, but like it. Okay, so let's get to some other throwback paint schemes. So the Tricon truck team are all doing throwbacks. The 11 truck team is doing a throwback for the 17 truck. That was early 2010s. The 5 team is throwing a throwback to the 77 truck from that same time period. And the 17 team is doing a throwback to the 11 team. Now, what I don't get is why doesn't the 11 team throw back to the old 11 team? And why does the 17 team not throw back to the old 17 team? Why are you flipping and reversing all of this? Wouldn't you just want to keep it a little bit simpler? And also the throwback might look nicer because you can use the real number. I don't know. That's just my theory on the situation, but it's weird. That's just weird. I don't know. But it's cool that they're all doing throwbacks. Eric Jones' throwback was also revealed. I did not... Where is Eric Jones' throwback car? Where is it? Where is your romance car? Oh yeah, they're doing a That was 2022. What are they doing for this year? What are they doing? Are they just doing a Richard Petty throwback? Oh, yeah. They are. Never mind. I already talked about that one. They're doing a STP throwback to Richard Petty. Never mind. Moving on. Talked about Ryan Newman. Chase Elliott, in my opinion, not just because I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but because I think he has one of the coolest throwbacks of the weekend. He is throwing back to his dad, Bill Elliott, when he was in the 9 car from like 01 to 03. He was in the 9 car. So Chase is throwing back to that. I think it's so cool. They got the color correct. They're even getting the correct number font. Then with the 9, the correct number 9. Of course, the sponsor can't be the same. The sponsor was Dodge, and Dodge isn't in NASCAR anymore. So, but they still got the car to look good, and it's gonna be weird seeing that on the track. But I think I'm really gonna like it. So, Tyler Reddick is doing a 2003 Kurt Busch throwback car to the Rubbermaid car. Reddick does the 45 and stuff, but they've got the Rubbermaid look going, and that looks really cool too. I think that's going to be a really nice scheme on the track, especially with that being Kurt's old car at 2311. So, the 92 Xfinity team is going to be doing a throwback to Kevin Harvick's 2005 Xfinity scheme. So this would have been back when Harvick was in the 21 car running Xfinity races. I believe that's the blue one from 05. They're doing that throwback. So that's really cool. There are a lot of Kevin Harvick throwbacks. You'll see a couple more of them. Including Austin Hill. He's doing a 2006 Kevin Harvick throwback, while Sheldon Creed is doing a 2001 Kevin Harvick throwback. And they know that's the number 2 AC Delco blue. That's for Sheldon Creed. Hill's doing the 2006. I think that's the darker blue one, in fact. Riley Herbst is doing a Ken Block throwback. And I think that's awesome that he's doing that one. It looks really cool. Kyle Larson is doing a throwback to Tony Stewart's 2009 Daytona win for Hendrick Motorsports. Yeah, this was news to me. I didn't know that Tony Stewart ran for Hendrick ever. But he did in the Xfinity Series in 2009. Won the season opening Daytona race. It was like the 80 HendrickCars.com logo, sick paint job, and they're bringing that back. It's pretty much going to look the same as it did in that day, except 80 will be 5. That's what it'll be. That's really the only difference. That's going to look cool. If this was a night race, it would look even cooler, because I think that's more of a night paint scheme to me. But I think it's still going to look cool, regardless. Blaine Perkins is also doing a Kevin Harvick throwback for his Xfinity, one of his Xfinity cars. It's from 2003. So that's me and the Xfinity race. Ty Dillon is doing a Martin Truex Jr. throwback. This is not to a Cup car for Truex. This is for his Xfinity car way back when, almost 20 years ago, or about 20 years ago. A lot of people are not happy about this paint scheme look. Because, ooh, the grass doesn't look right. Ooh, it doesn't, why you mess it up? At least get it accurate if you're going to do it. To me, it doesn't look identical. Hard to, when the numbers aren't even the same. They're different kinds of cars. They've tried their best. It doesn't look awful, in my opinion. And they could tell the resemblance is there. It's not the worst thing in the world. We got a couple more throwbacks. Brennan Poole for the Cup race is doing a throwback to Bobby Allison's 1979 paint scheme. And I gotta say, that one looks sick. Really does. So that'll be a nice one to see finish 34th or something like that. And then finally, for the throwback paint schemes, Cole Custer is throwing a throwback to Jason Leffler's 2004 look. And even so, with some of the same team members are still there. Jason Leffler ran Xfinity in the 00 back then, and that's what it is now, the 00 Haas car. So that one looks pretty much identical. And that's a nice callback, too, when you think about the teammates and who was there, who's still there, as well as throwing back to Jason Leffler. So that's a really nice look, too. And that one's going to look really cool on the track. So that is all of the throwback paint schemes that were announced. It's probably going to be all of them, seeing that's almost throwback weekend. I don't expect any more to pop up at all. So there we go. We got some other news, a couple other news topics, though. Kyle Larson is going to be starring in a dirt racing documentary. Now, this shouldn't be super surprising because Kyle Larson is he has got to start dirt racing, and he's still a big dirt racer to this day. So it shouldn't be that big a thing, but that big of a surprise, I should say. It's a pretty big thing to star in a dirt racing documentary, but I wonder if they'll mention the iRacing incident. Do you think they will? That'd be so funny if they did. But that's cool. Might have to watch it now that he's going to be in it. So, and it was also announced Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez are going to run the Cars Tour race that they're doing at North Wilkesboro. So that's cool. A pair of what's it called? Trackhouse teammates going to be running that. So maybe get some experience for the All-Star race coming up as well. So that'll be good. More sponsor news. TD Bank is going to be sponsoring Corey LaJoie at the Coca-Cola 600. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. So that's going to look cool under the lights. The green and the white and those colors are going to look really cool under the lights. So hopefully Corey LaJoie can do something with it going forward. So that's going to be awesome. Okay, now it's time for the rest of the NASCAR 75 Greatest Drivers list. So let's pull it up. So the rest of the drivers were added. The rest of this week. So we'll talk about those guys first. Let me pull it up on the NASCAR site here. Sorry, my nose is a little runny. Where is it? Can't find it. Okay, anyway. We'll just read off the full list. How about that? Jimmy Johnson was the last driver added. Not surprising. Matt Kenseth made it on there as well. So that's pretty cool. But let's read off the full list. So we'll start with the original 50. God bless America. Fucking Christ. The NASCAR website sucks. I know we talked about that. The NASCAR website sucks. I'll use Fox Sports as instead. All right, so the original 50 drivers. Both the Allisons, Bobby and Davey Allison, are both on there. Buck Baker, Buddy Baker, Jeff Bodine, Neil Bonnet, Red Byron, Jerry Cook, Dale Earnhardt, Ralph Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Richie Evans, Red Farmer, Tim Flock, AJ Foyt, Harry Gant, Jeff Gordon, Ray Hendrick, Jack Ingram, Ernie Irvin, Bobby Isaac, Dale Jarrett, Ned Jarrett, Junior Johnson, Alan Kwiecki, Terry Labonte, Fred Lorenzen, Tiny Lund, Mark Martin, Herschel McGriff, Cotton Owens, Marvin Panch, Benny Parsons, David Pearson, Richard Petty, Lee Petty, Tim Richmond, Fireball Roberts, Ricky Rudd, Marshall Teague, Herb Thomas, Curtis Turner, Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip, Joe Weatherly, Bob Wellborn, Rex White, Glenn Wood, Cale Yarborough, and Leroy Yarborough. Those were the 50 that were the original 50 greatest drivers that were honored, that were added starting 1998. So, and here are the 75. And then the other 25 drivers that are going to be new additions that are to make 75. Sam Ard, Greg Biffle, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Ron Hornaday, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, Bobby Labonte, Randy LaJoy, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Sterling Marlin, Ryan Newman, Larry Phillips, Mike Stefanik, Tony Stewart, and Martin Truex Jr. So, and I guess my overall thoughts on the list. I can't comment on everybody whether I think they should be on there or not, because I don't know everything about everybody on this list. Obviously, Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, even Ralph Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip. I all those guys definitely deserve to be on this list. There are some that I think are questionable additions. Jeff Burton is one. I'm really not happy with Jeff Burton being on here, simply because I think he's more recognized for his announcer accomplishments, what those may be, instead of his driving ones. I mean, he was a really good driver, but he could never win anything big. He never won the 500. He always faltered in the late in the season when there was a championship on the line, like in 2006 and 2008. He can never get the job done, and in that regard, he won a lot of races still, but what makes him the greatest? I don't know. Ron Hornaday definitely deserves to be on there. Of course, I can't really comment on many other people. There's some controversy. Some of the more recent drivers that are added, like Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and I can understand that. I'm a Chase Elliott fan. It's cool that he's on the list, but does he really deserve to be on the 75 greatest drivers list? I think it's a little too early to put him on there. Same with Kyle Larson. Joey Logano, it's questionable, but I think he's okay. Kyle Busch 100% deserves to be on there. Kurt Busch, I agree on the same front. Both deserve to be on there. Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, those are a little bit questionable, but I'm okay with them being on there. Dale Jr., I want to say yes, and sure, yes. Put him on there. I mean, he did a lot for the sport. So, yeah, put him on there. Casey Kane's another one of those questionable ones, but I don't know if he really deserves to be on there. Kenseth definitely deserves to be on there. Brad Keselowski, yeah. Sterling Marlin, definitely. That's really it, but so I think it's cool. And they got Alan Kwiecki on there. Easy ad for me as well. So that's cool. I think overall it's a fine list. It's nothing great. there's not, you're going to get okay, here's the thing. You're going to get controversy. Might as well just go along with the voters think, because obviously they'll probably do it again for, I don't know if they do it for any recently, but they might, if they ever get to 100, they'll definitely do it for 100. But will they do it for, any others? Only time will tell, I guess. But that's pretty cool. But that was all the news stuff that I had. Again, other than the throwback main schemes, it was a pretty light news week. So we kind of blew through those. But other than that, I just had my birthday, by the way, if you guys didn't know. And I bought 2 new die casts off of eBay. So those, at the time of this being also recorded and going up, they're supposed to be here tomorrow. So they will be, they're not here yet. Although I was hoping they would kind of be here before I recorded this so that I could show them off today. They're not here yet. They should be here tomorrow. So they will be on the next episode. I don't know the status of Hitmaster's diecast with that he was going to get. So we'll check on that in the next episode as well. So and also nothing new on Corrigan Oil. They did have, actually tonight, I'm recording this tonight, is their first race of the season. So cool. That's good. I'm not going, personally. Neither is Hitmasters, so we'll just have to wait. And but he hasn't told me anything new. I haven't seen anything new online, so I'm assuming everything's okay there. Things are definitely looking in a better position for them going forward. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. Good shit there. So, but other than that, that's kind of a preview to look for. Maybe do some die casts and other kind of stuff in the next episode. So, but otherwise, let's guess we gotta preview Darlington. That's what we got to do before we can sign off for today. So all 3 series are racing this weekend. Let me just find it here. So we'll start with the truck race. That's also tonight. And I hope to actually watch some of it, if not all of it. Partially for the cool paint schemes, but also because I really like, because I want to watch it to get more stuff to talk about. So who do I pick to win today? I'm going to pick Matt Crafton to win. I'm actually kind of surprised he's not on the 75 greatest drivers list. He's been a pretty iconic truck driver for a while, but really didn't hit his stride in Cup either, though. So that's maybe why. I don't know, but I'm gonna think he's gonna win the throwback truck race. So, and then for the Xfinity race, who do I think is gonna win the Xfinity race? Ooh. Let's see. Let's looking through that. I looked through the finishing orders of the previous race to pick them. Let's pick one of the Harvick throwbacks, Sheldon Creed. I'm gonna pick him to win Darlington in the Harvick throwback. So that's pretty good stuff there. Sorry, I was just looking through the list, make sure we got everything. And then finally for Cup, the throwback race. Can I just say, why is this race not a night race? Why don't start it at 6 o'clock? Why is everything gotta be a 3 o'clock start? A lot of these paint schemes, in my opinion, would look so much cooler if they... A lot of these paint schemes would look so much cooler if they were under the lights. but you don't run them at night. Why? I never really understood why they moved the throwback race away from Labor Day weekend. That was the whole point of even bringing back Darlington on Labor Day weekend, was so that you could, because it was the tradition. It was always on throwback on Labor Day weekend. It was the tradition to throw it back, do cool paint schemes, and then you move it to Mother's Day. For what reason? I don't know. I never got that, but. What should we expect at Darlington this weekend? I guess we could talk about this for all three series. I forgot to really, truly preview Darlington, but of course, it's a rough, abrasive surface, so tires are going to be of the essence. And we've seen that a lot already this season. Even Dover had, it was predicted to have issues, and there really wasn't any. So. Tires are going to be a major concern in this race for sure. It's an endurance race. A lot of motors will probably expire. Hit the wall, the Darlington stripe, and we've seen a lot of drivers barely hit the wall, and then you see their days come to an end, or they go like 50 laps down or something like that, and they're out of the race. How will that come into play? At Darlington, will a lot of drivers have to retire early because of Darlington stripes, or will they be able to make it? Who knows? But going off of what we saw at Kansas, I'm pretty optimistic for some good racing product this weekend, because they're both 1.5 mile track. Well, they're not the same length, but they're close in length. And Darlington's another track that's really well known for speed. Sorry. Tired. Long day yesterday. Again, what's your point? But it's very well known. It's a lot of speed, but tight corners and very tight racing grooves. How we're still figuring out how durable these cars are and how well they can hold up. And I think a lot of that will come into play on Sunday, and really also over the course of the rest of the weekend. So if we can get a finish half as controversial as last year's throwback weekend finish between Logano and Byron, that would be pretty wild. But only time will tell. So who do I think is going to win? Hitmaster's not here. We can't do the chips today. Who do I think is going to win? I kind of want to pick off of paint schemes. I kind of want to pick, but I also kind of want to pick a driver I like. I want to say Newman's going to come out of nowhere and win it, but he's running a Rick Ware car, so we know it's not going to happen. Logano probably won't repeat, though probably because I said he'd repeat. Will repeat. Could we see Kyle Busch have a good chance? Maybe. Darlington's not been one of his best tracks ever, so I don't know. That's really possible. I guess for the sake of both wanting to pick the driver I like and a good paint scheme that I like, sorry, I gotta do it. Going with Chase Elliott. I really love his paint scheme. I really like Chase Elliott as a driver. Let's hope that he can win. He still needs to lock his way into the New Year's Eve Spectacular as well. So there's that to root for as well for myself. But yeah, what are you guys predicting for for Darlington this weekend? What do you think of the paint schemes as well? I'd love to know all of that in the comment section down below. And stay tuned. I know this is another short episode. Sorry. There's just not been a lot of news stuff. So I try to watch the races as much as I can so I can get as much notes to talk about them in the videos. I'm trying to play some other NASCAR games too. I'm trying to play Thunder 2003 soon. I know I still need to get 06 and Dirt to Daytona. I can get those. I probably will soon. And I can play those. Plus the new diecast and other news projects and stuff. So But yep, in the next episode, next episode is going to be a fun one. I'm going to talk about the throwback weekend for all 3 races. Hopefully, again, talk about the diecast. And it's All-Star Week next week. North Wilkesboro is finally coming up. They had a bunch of stuff. They had a big open house for North Wilkesboro and stuff like that. So that's good. Hopefully get it all set up and ready to go for their wonderful All-Star Weekend. But we got another points race to do, so we'll catch you on the flip side. Hopefully Hitmaster will be back next week. He apologizes for not being here this week. So stay tuned, guys, for much more amazing content. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.